He's still doing a show tonight, you know?
You know, you bother me. You know damn well we're doing a goddamn show.
Well, what's it about?
Listen, you show up frickin' late. I said never enter the goddamn door when the monitor's on, 'cause I got some shit to do.
Well, maybe if you just give me a hint what we're gonna do, I could help a little bit.
No, no, no. You frickin' prick.
Okay.
Oh, hey, what's going on, everybody? What is going on?
Fine acting there.
Welcome to the late horror show. What's going on, man?
The Little Monsters Movie Podcast. Welcome.
The little one. Ted's going to call it our first name forever. There you go.
I like the long names.
Yes, so nobody can ever search it up. What's that? The Little Monsters Movie Podcast? Is that the late horror show? We are going to do The Shining tonight. We're going to talk and rant and review.
Isn't it
and
funny
all
that we
shit.
took this long to do it?
Yeah,
and we're not even doing I think this would have been a hard movie to do.
This ain't even a review. It's
on it.
Yeah.
It would have been a hard one. Because a lot of space.
Because we got a lot of stuff to talk about. I mean,
right. There's really no time for you guys.
And you guys like a little bit more of the setup going on here. I do see Jennifer Delaney is in the chat.
Welcome.
What is up, Jennifer? Always there. She says, "Hey, Ted."
Hey.
If you guys don't know,
what you got cooking.
If you guys don't know, we're live on YouTube right now. We stream this. Goes up onto iTunes afterwards. So just do a search for. The show on iTunes. Check the link below. But anyways, yeah, we're doing The Shining, man. What you got? You got frickin' Stephen King's books, Stanley Kubrick, all hail the man, directing it, which we are going to talk a lot about.
My favorite filmmaker.
A lot of conspiracy stuff. A lot of this movie. Jack Nicholson, Shelley Duvall, which. I'll get into Shelley's acting and all her stuff in a minute.
Let's not forget the great
Danny,
Scatman Crothers.
Scatman Crothers.
Hong Kong Phooey himself.
Hong Kong Phooey. That's right. Holy shit.
Hong
Kong Phooey. Man, I forgot how that goes.
Number one
superstar.
Hong Kong Phooey. Quicker than the human eye.
That's right. We're a little too close now.
They don't know who Hong Kong Phooey is.
Hey, there's 2 people watching.
Woohoo! We've got a big audience.
The Shining's hitting big. Well, I had it scheduled for 9:30, but we went live.
So early?
Oh, it doesn't matter. But anyways,
he told me to come over earlier.
Hey, that's all right.
I just do what I'm told.
Over.
Oh,
we'll do that a little later because that part in the movie.
Over and out.
Yeah.
You know, I am not a big Shelley Duvall fan.
She is. Shelley Duvall. And we'll get to the movie in a second here.
Lady's had a hard life.
She seemed just as flimsy as olive oil in this movie.
I'm telling you what. Speaking of olive oil, that's the only role I could ever actually see her playing. No one could replace Shelley Duvall.
She played a bit part. She played a bit part in Annie Hall, Woody Allen.
Yeah.
She was very disgusting in that movie.
Poor lady.
No, I like.
She had a hard time on the set of The Shining.
Oh, I bet
she was definitely
between Stanley, between Jack Nicholson.
Well, because if you don't know, and I'm sure all of you, if you're a
Mr. Michael Myers fan, what is up? If you guys ever hear me on iTunes or anywhere else you guys catch our podcast at, because this is technically a podcast too. We are live every Monday night around 9:30, whenever Ted
If this was
pops
legit,
in.
we'd be wearing headphones.
We don't need to.
Because we
got a Yeti
microphone.
But anyways, welcome to the chat, you guys. Glad you guys made it. Glad you guys showed up. This was going to be a good one. Interesting, but
you got to know Kubrick is always notorious for multiple takes.
One of the ending scenes. Let's talk about that. Let's go to the ending, and we'll be bringing up a lot of things. We'll be talking about the bear costume. We'll be talking about.
I think we're going to assume they've already seen it.
Yeah, right. I'm not going to assume that they haven't, but a lot of stuff. The conspiracy stuff with Stanley Kubrick and how there's a lot of mysterious stuff. I mean, people really dive deep into watching this film and dissecting it.
Mm-hmm. It's true. There's 2 different.
Pardon me.
There's 2 different Kubricks.
Yes,
there Kubrick pre-2001.
Oh, right.
And then there's the Kubrick, the director, after
Hey,
2001.
Beth S., what is up?
Hey, very different.
Yeah.
Very different. I mean, sort of like starting with 2001, you had the artist who is hiding things in every film, trying to unveil a truth, but do it in an artistic way, which is how all great art is.
Which we'll talk about.
A deeper meaning within it, and it's
overall
different for everybody. And every single film has it. And I can go through them all if you like.
Oh, I know you can, but we'll stick to The Shining.
We'll stick to The Shining.
But what a great psychological thriller, horror film, whatever you want to call it. I mean,
or confessional.
Confessional, right?
Or confessional.
Madman who goes insane, or ghosts, haunted hotel,
or
here's
how I faked the moon landing.
Exactly, or how and other things. But Stephen King, had his own experience in the Stanley Hotel, and decided way back then to write a story about it. So he ended up doing that.
And he was so against Kubrick's version in the end. And look at all the shitty movies that have been made based on his books.
Oh, you know what?
All right, Steve, did you ever watch The Running Man? I mean,
Well, did you watch the remake in 1997?
Yeah, I did.
Did you care for it?
I don't remember shit one about it.
Did you like the?
Does anybody out there remember shit one?
Do you like the animal monsters who trees hedges that
Don't
came to life and because
Don't
that was
remember.
in the book and because Stanley Kubrick did.
Don't remember it.
Stanley Kubrick changed a lot of things from the book to the movie.
Made it better.
To make it. Well, he wanted to put little Easter eggs and things in.
He wanted to make a supernatural story.
Yeah.
Mainly because even though, we look at it now, people love Barry Lyndon from 1975.
Barry Lyndon. Right.
His film Barry Lyndon, the
3-hour
historical epic, which also ties into Illuminati stuff too. But
Danny Lloyd and Scatman did 80-something takes over ice cream scene.
Absolutely, that's exactly what I was trying to illustrate.
That was said by Mr. Michael Myers fan 99 in the chat room.
And what were you going to say? The axe scene? What was 127 times?
127 takes.
Where they used a fake door at first.
Yeah.
But Jack Nicholson was a volunteer fireman.
Yeah.
So I mean, he knew how to smash through those doors like
But
nothing.
even he said
so they finally had to use a real door.
Right, but after 127 takes, he's like, I don't think I'm ever going to work with the Stanley Kubrick guy again. I mean, it was just so much. That's a lot of take, and that's a record, I think, take-wise. I mean, unless you're, one of these
not many have.
lower budget.
I mean,
it's
even in Eyes Wide Shut, scenes like Tom Cruise walking through a door or something 80 times.
The Stanley Hotel, aka the Shining Hotel, exactly exists. And
it does. Yeah.
The Lindbergh Hotel in Oregon, something like that, is the real hotel. Whatever.
Yeah, I can't remember.
Yeah,
but that's the one that they used in the film.
Yeah, to view. And what did he do in?
But he was looking to make a movie that would make some money. Because Barry Lyndon didn't do too well.
Right.
So he was looking at something supernatural. He kind of wanted to approach that. But, Stanley Kubrick's an admitted atheist. So he himself has a hard time...
Trembling colors.
...in the film being concrete about whether these things are actually real or not.
Right.
And that's because he has a problem with it. So how is he going to convey that in a film believably? Mm-hmm. So that's why he purposely left it vague. So he knew he wanted to do something supernatural, but he wanted it grounded in some kind of a reality, something that he could. And when he started reading The Shining, that was like the one book he didn't, toss against the wall. He read that one and said, "I can use something in this book." And of course, he and his co-screenwriter changed things as they saw fit. But you're making a film,
which will
sometimes have to be more cinematic.
Yeah.
And with Kubrick, especially after 2001 or starting with 2001. There are no mistakes. There are no continuity errors. Not when you're doing that many takes.
No,
you're talking about
he's doing exactly what he wanted to do.
And you're talking about a man who's an artist.
Yes.
You're talking about a man who's got a 200 IQ. Talking about a man who could play 10 opponents of chess at the same time.
Right.
Could have been a world champion chess player.
Mm-hmm.
And win, by the way.
Oh,
and
really?
win all 10 games.
And win them.
And win all 10 games.
He's grounded like coffee.
When it came, yeah, you know.
Oh.
And so when it came to being meticulous, I mean, the movie was already here.
Well, you guys discussed the deleted ending. Sure.
Yes, I know
We
about
will.
it. Yes. So maybe this is opinion, just because I love Kubrick's films.
No.
He didn't make mistakes. There are no continuity errors. Every single thing in those frames, even the shot of the helicopter shadow.
Oh yeah. Do you like
which
when
you really only see like in the fuller screen, where you don't see it as much when it's widescreen. But when they're looking at the Overlook Hotel, you can see the whirl of the helicopter blades very faintly in the top of your.
And do you like?
So he doesn't make mistakes. It's there for a reason.
Oh right. Do you like even when Jack is looking in the big gigantic maze,
The model,
and you could see the sun shining, showing the positioning of the people. I mean, to every little detail. And that's why people, I think, dissect this film so much.
Let me throw you out another aside, and it does relate to Shining.
Okay.
It's just another little tick of his personality.
Okay.
So let's say you're going to put the tick.
Dick Halloran was Scatman Crothers.
Yes, he was.
Oh.
When he would, you know how you have like advertisements in the newspaper.
Oh yes, I read them all the time.
He would instruct the newspapers.
Yeah.
How large he wanted the pictures to be.
Okay.
And it had to be a certain size. Okay, so then he would
That's what she said.
He would get all the newspapers, look at them, and measure them to see if they were the size, and they were always a little bit smaller. And he finally called up these newspapers, like, I asked for it to be this size, by this size, and it's not.
Eric from the Death Twitch.
Yes.
What's up, man?
And they explained to him, when they make the moldings, whatever that make it, it shrinks the image a little bit or something like that. And he was fine with it. Mm-hmm. It's just that, he didn't know why it wasn't. Now he knows why it was like that. But it was just the point that he would get all the newspapers and measure it to make sure. He would always send detailed instructions with the film on how to project it and things like that. So just there's no mistakes.
No.
He was very
Stanley
meticulous
Kubrick,
about these.
he knows exactly what he's doing. And that's why one of my eyes wide shut. That it has nothing to do with Stanley Kubrick's what ideas in that movie. Just Nicole Kidman.
Mm-hmm.
A second of silence, just to remember that image of the opening scene of her undressing.
Boom, 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 boom. I remember the.
Okay. Anyways, there we go.
Baby did a bad thing.
Maybe did a bad.
And see,
bad
now,
thing.
actually, he wouldn't have
right
been
there?
too happy with the, because he died before all the promotional stuff started. He was always, he had a hand in that too.
But yeah, we're gonna, there's a lot of things we're gonna touch on. A couple things here. Preferably the man in the bear suit. Okay.
Yes.
Jack Nicholson with his. There's a lot of incestuous things that are going on in this movie.
So, huh?
Little Easter eggs that are plotted here and there that point to, like Jack Nicholson when he's sitting there waiting for what's his name to come get him, and he's reading a Playgirl magazine.
Who doesn't? But then when you can't see it in the film.
No, it's just a split second. You would never know.
But if you actually
happened.
see the cover of that Playgirl magazine, like you were saying, there's a whole article in there about incest.
Yes, and
why do parents have sex with their children?
And you go back to the scene of the big bear that as Shelley or Wendy is going up with the knife and looks down the corridor into the bedroom, and the
one
bear
of the
man
top eeriest scenes in that film
is giving the other guy fellatio, which tends to if you dig real deep,
it's okay to be on the receiving end.
You can say that it's portraying Danny, kind of a younger kid there. Because if you go scene earlier in the movie when he's brushing his teeth down the corridor, go ahead, tell me
what that's probably about.
Go ahead.
Do you know a code name or a code image for pedophilia? Especially the Hollywood ring of pedophilia is a teddy bear.
Oh no, I know. Yeah, that's why I'm bringing it up.
And that's something that they will call each other. Like, say someone is sort of like me, big or hairy or whatever. They'd say you're a hairy teddy bear. And that's
I'm trying to watch the chat, you guys, and all that. It's a little dim. I needed to brighten the screen up a bit, but yeah.
I think that's a little bit of what he meant.
No, exactly.
Because that's where it starts.
Right.
And
No, there's a lot
This
of...
is more than an hour's worth of talking here.
No, I know. Well, hey, go with whatever pops in your head.
But
I mean,
that's the cool
the
thing about
movie...
The Shining, because you can look at it so many different ways.
But the cool thing is...
a straight-out horror movie.
Right.
Maybe it's a manifestation of a father's, alcoholism and, disdain for his family
Stanley Kubrick
manifesting itself.
Right. Stanley Kubrick threw all these little things in there, though, knowing that years down the road, people will still be dissecting these things, because...
That's always what's happened with his films.
Right,
Like,
exactly.
all his films were, reviewed poorly at first, even Eyes Wide Shut. And then later on, you have people revisit it and say, and Barry Lyndon was always considered, the worst one out of all of them. And now, it's on Scorsese's list of some of them. He says it's his favorite
Joey Cage! You taking off his shirt, Joey Cage?
Joey Cage.
Joey Cage is in the chat.
Get naked.
What's going on? Joey, can we have some more music? That's right, man.
More music.
Says Eric the Duck Twitch. Let me see. Trying to look at this without my glasses. That is weird. Sorry I'm late. Everybody's good. Awesome. Glad you guys are here.
Yeah.
This movie, okay, tell me if I'm wrong. This is another movie. They did try the remake, and I believe there's talks of them remaking the movie again. Aren't they? I believe.
You could do as many adaptations as you want.
No, that's fine.
But
this is where I was getting to. I think this one...
Why not? I mean, no one's got any original ideas
This
out there.
one's another movie where if it got changed in any way... I mean, it stands alone as one of the greatest, most iconic horror psychological thriller films of all time.
Right.
I mean, think of all the scenes in this. The elevator with the blood splashing down, going through the corridor.
Jack's face through the
Jack's
door.
face
Here's
through
Johnny,
the door. I mean,
twin. Well, they're
the
not really
twin- yeah.
twins, but
Well,
in
two-
real life they were twins. But
the
in
two
the movie,
girls
they're
that
not.
died, yes.
The Grady girls.
Danny with his little,
trike.
Yeah, riding down the hall.
I even have a shiny hoodie jacket. It's got the little girls on the front.
Yes.
And on the back, it's got the image of them all bloodied up. I can't really
And
wear
one
it in
of
front
the
of my kids.
and another really cool iconic piece of this movie is the carpet has become such an
you
trend.
You show that carpet. People know what movie that's from.
Hell yeah, man. Which lends a little bit of... We can talk about the fake moon landing, his points in this movie too with that. Because the carpet comes into play in that too.
I guess...
But the thing I was...
Several people have different ways of trying to say what he was trying to say. Some people say it's about the Holocaust. I know Kubrick was interested in the Holocaust, but I don't see a lot of that.
Well, people say Nazi is in
right.
there.
There's a few things in there that maybe you could tie into it, but I don't see a lot. Some people say it's about the slaughter of the American Indian.
Right.
And yeah, there's a lot of Indian motifs throughout the movie, but I don't think that's what he was trying to talk about.
I don't think
in
so
there either.
I don't think so.
When Jay Weidner, if you look up this guy named Jay Weidner, he's got his own websites. He did a documentary called Kubrick's Odyssey. And that's where you can... I think... Even what he says sometimes is a stretch, because that same guy will say that no one was in the buildings on 9/11 and the trades. Okay, it's like you're taking it a little too far right there. But
exactly.
Some of the things he brings up about the faked footage of the moon landing, I can buy, but nothing has 100% pointed that it was Kubrick who did it. I think maybe some people have intimated, that New Stanley intimated to Jay Weidner that he may have done it, but I don't think he ever really came right out and did it. But, I mean, there are some suspicious things, such as, after 2001, he kind of caged himself off in Clockwork Orange. He kind of kept himself in England, kept himself very secluded, did not do really interviews and things like that, didn't leave his house very much.
Right.
He would go to the little town outside of where he lived out in England.
Well, he had threats made to him. I mean, and when he does what
is that because he was afraid of, if the clues in The Shining are indicative of here's what happened in the moon landing, then I think the scene where Dick Halloran gets killed is trying to say that, I told somebody and they paid a price for it, and maybe that's why he just shut himself up in England.
Right.
And I'm not telling anybody anything anymore. I think, and then slowly throughout his films after, he'd put a little bit out. Clockwork Orange is the mind control bit. I mean, look at all the astronauts.
Did something just fly by you?
I didn't see anything. The astronauts from the original moon landing.
I think I saw something.
Every time they were asked, what was it like to be on the moon? They don't remember. Just they would get ill.
No,
they would get ill, and just like Alex would do in Clockwork Orange.
And then people would come back though and say that there's a reason behind that too, because they found something up there that they're not supposed to talk about. But,
Maybe.
But and then again,
Maybe.
We can get so many reasons. People say the film, as it came through the radiation belt there around the Earth and between the Earth.
Yeah, the Van Allen belt.
Yes,
sure.
would have actually ruined the film.
Probably they took videotape up there.
I know. So they say even
no
though
magnetism, no radiation up there.
They say even though they went to the moon,
and they took crappy film.
Okay, so this turned into a paranormal show. Anyways, it will start.
Well, there was an episode of Midnight in the Desert with Art Bell, where Jay Weidner and Stanton Friedman, who I know you know, were on there, and Jay kind of convinced Stanton Friedman. Like he kind of convinced him in the end. You probably listened to that show, but I guess you could say that the clues, the main clues.
Ted is deep state. You're going deep today, man.
I'm going deep, dude. Going deep. The main clues that are interesting in The Shining that may point to that.
Yeah.
There is I'll just say there's the 237.
The room 237.
That's the one everybody knows because in the book it was 217. And why did he change it to 237?
Well,
what was the point?
They said the hotel didn't want it to be 217 because people wouldn't have.
True.
I know, but
they said it's the most popular suite that people ask for.
Oh yeah. But they said because of people wouldn't want to sleep in there. But Stanley Kubrick, for his point here, is there's references to the 237. Like it's supposedly back then, they thought it was 237,000 miles from the Earth itself. So I mean, there were numbers, and
in that scene, Danny's wearing
Apollo
11 sweatshirt,
yes,
and he is sitting
on the carpet.
And when Jay Weidner does show the image, looking down of the Apollo 11 launch, it is reminiscent,
similar.
Not exactly, but it's similar,
close enough. He can't get it the exact shape.
Right.
He's going to give everything away.
Now the guy's
got to be undercovers.
The guy's got an hour and a half long documentary about it, and there is the Room 237 documentary which you could watch.
Yes.
It's full. It's all scattered, full of ideas.
Which is covered on the front cover of that thing with the carpet. So
and you can watch that free on, or no, not free, but you can watch it on Hulu, or I think it's on Hulu. So.
Eris the Death Twitch says they apparently had a remote control camera on the moon to film them taking off and panning up as they lifted off.
How are they getting that footage of the
Illuminati confirmed
of the lander taking off?
Well, they say exactly. I know.
But they were saying that it was front projection, and if you follow Jay Weidner's line of thinking, you can see, and he compares it to 2001 because that was what Kubrick used to make several scenes in 2001. The moon areas, the Dawn of Man scenes. It is a front projection. It's a screen, and you projecting images on it. And
this was Stanley Kubrick's first film too to have the rolling credits.
Mm-hmm.
Everything else was title carded. Yep. So it doesn't really. It's not conspiracy related, but
I think it was in that Room 237. If anyone's watched it.
Ooh, what happened?
It's some people even tried to. They watched the film forward, but then superimposed the film backwards on it. So you were watching it forwards and backwards at the same time. And there are some interesting parallels where things line up really interestingly. And
think about if you're somebody
that's
like
actually
Stanley
what
Kubrick.
People say you should do with the last 2 episodes of the new season of Twin Peaks that was just on.
Really?
That if you kind of play them. Well, they didn't say play them on top of each other, superimposed, but if you play them at the same time, that there's interesting parallels.
Think about Stanley Kubrick. If he was given this much money and he wants to expose what he wants to expose, he's going to hide things in these movies that he makes and stuff like that.
Well, he became the artist, and he bored easily. Got bored of chess. Got bored of.
He was waterboarded.
No, he as people with high IQs typically do, they get bored. Like Sherlock Holmes would get bored, and that's why he would snort coke in the books. Because he didn't have a case to work on.
Exactly.
They never show that in any of the movies, but he would do lines.
The Mummy and the Monkey is here. What is up, man?
Welcome.
I don't know if that's Janet Decay or if that's James Harmon.
Well, whoever it is, welcome.
Whoever it is, welcome, man. They are part of my Horror Town iTunes channel.
That's right. They're here local with us.
If you, local here with
They're
us.
in our town.
They're doing a little thrifting stuff and resellers right now, but they got their shows on local public access TV channels and stuff. Check out the Mummy and the Monkey Facebook page.
They're like Wayne's World.
But what was I going to say? The one thing about this movie, but welcome anyways. That's awesome that you're in here.
Well, I was just saying that he got bored. You know, he did the
so
typical Hollywood type
movies. I want to say here.
He did the noir films. He did the Hollywood epic. You know,
right,
and that got boring after a while.
Yes.
And if in his mind, if I can't do something significant and make something that's on a higher plane of cinema, then there's no point doing it anymore.
Yeah.
And from 2001 on, there's always, there's fair gaps in between these pictures.
Triv is a Moon Man too. Triv? How do you guys know Triv? Mr. Michael Myers 99. How do you know that person? The Yummy Mummy in the Hizzy. Monkey Man fell asleep. Oh no! So that's Janet Decay. Go check her out. She's the mummy.
But kind of the nutshell of the whole. I don't know that I 100% believe it, but there are certain things that point at it. And
last week's show, Ted couldn't get a word in edgewise.
No.
I'm not getting a word in edgewise.
What movie did we talk about last week? I don't even remember.
We talked about it.
Oh yeah. Hell with that. Now we're talking about a real movie.
Yeah.
And things about what he did with his life.
Yeah.
How he shut himself off and. It does, and you got to wonder, how did he make the movies that he made? What studio is going to bankroll Clockwork Orange?
Drum Dums is in the house.
After you read that script.
Lee, what is up, buddy?
Who's going to bankroll that?
Anyways,
a movie like Clockwork Orange. Exactly.
One of my favorite movies, man, of all time.
Barry Lyndon. A long,
yes,
what most people consider very slow and boring historical epic.
Yes.
I mean, even to the point where he got special lenses from NASA that cost $3 million each.
Mm-hmm.
The lenses, just to film scenes by candlelight. No artificial lighting at all. Strictly
Stanley
candlelight.
Kubrick, man.
I mean, so he had to have been given carte blanche for some reason. Did he do this?
Well, didn't he
sell his soul, so to speak?
It was part of his contract, though. He was allowed
what director gets a contract like that, where you get everything? You turn in the movie.
Something a little bit deeper involved there.
Well, that's what I'm wondering. Did they say, "Hey, you film this footage for us"?
Hey,
speaking the government. And
God, I love all those figures, says Drum Dums. Super jealous.
You can make
this
whatever
is only a
movie
small
you want.
portion of them. Lee.
Oh God, there's shit over here.
I'm trying to get this studio framed up perfect, and because we've moved,
it's very distracting.
Just like Drum Dums did, he moved too. Let's see, everybody I think in the horror community here on YouTube actually has moved.
I haven't.
Within the year or recently. Well, Ted is, but me, Drum Dums just did a move. Eric did a move from the Death Twitch not long ago. There was a few others too. But anyways, the thing I love about this too, and there's another thing he did.
That was just my point there.
Cool. Another thing he did in this movie to throw people off, psychologically here was like you were saying. What was the chair scene?
Yeah.
Like he would misplace things. Change things in the background.
One scene there, cut away, then another scene. It's the chair scene,
and just to throw you off.
Well, it was kind of the scene that we were riffing on at the beginning when Wendy walks in on Jack typing.
Sandwiches.
And he gets that's kind of the point in the movie where he really starts losing it and getting really if you hear me typing, if you don't hear me typing, and if you look behind him, there's a chair in one scene that cuts to Wendy, cuts back to Jack. The chair is not there.
Yeah.
The typewriter changes color in the film. All right.
All these things you don't see. And even
these are done intentionally.
Even the layout of the actual hotel totally wouldn't
Very
even work.
confusing.
The office
when
where
you
they
see
come
them
in
walking
there,
around,
right.
They never get to the same place the same way twice.
No,
it's very disorienting.
It would never. If you lay a map out, and people have done this, it would never go. Even room sizes would never fit.
Right.
The way they looked into the room, itself. Mm-hmm. So even the manager's office there, when he first comes in, there's a window above there. It would never be there. I don't
know how people really figured that out.
Because the foliage coming up there. But then again, you could say, is there? But
the way you see the characters walking,
but the
the
psychological
where
feel
they end up. is disorienting because it doesn't. You're always off because you can't tell where they're.
You're
going.
always off, yeah.
Yeah, sorry.
Yeah. Well, let me see. What's Eric from the Duck Twitch say? Well, here I got to tell you. You said to point anything out.
Yep. Oh man. Who's saying something bad
Raiders,
about this movie?
AK says Kubrick is a hack.
Okay, then who's a better director? Raiders.
Who's a better
Who's the
director?
master of cinema?
There
Please
you go.
say Zack Snyder. Please say Zack Snyder.
Yeah,
Please
definitely
say Zack
point that.
Snyder.
Anyways,
He's a
Eric from the
hack.
Duck Twitch says the CIA and who knows who else has been a part of Hollywood for a
Sure.
while now. Of course, they realize
It's
the
propaganda.
power. They realize the power of film. I ask people in all seriousness, what would you do if the stories, movies stopped? Good point, buddy. Really. And Joey Cage, yes, they are Eric's. There's a book that talks about that on JFK called. Okay, so they're doing it. Ted, do you drink? Joey Cage is asking. Do you drink?
Yes, not as much as I used to, but
You know,
yes.
Ted pretty much.
Where's that picture of me with the big thing of margaritas and the sombrero all liquored up?
We're doing this film because Ted actually went down a real deep hole
Did I?
about 5 years
Oh,
ago.
it was awful.
Remember the
No, I don't remember any of it.
the Holiday Inn got closed down for a week, and they
yeah.
asked you to take care of it with your family.
Yeah,
And
it didn't turn out good for the family.
Ted was running all of.
That's why I got this new family.
Well,
I mean, yeah, I was running amok,
you
howling at the moon.
Shouldn't have
I
given
mean,
out too much information, but
It was a mess.
yeah.
I ate all the Snickers bars and the vending machines.
But anyways, the one of the
Found me
characters,
laying in wrappers,
Jack Nicholson.
rubbing it all over my wolf nipple chips.
Yeah, you did, and then you froze it with that wart remover.
Yeah,
And Ted has no nipples.
I know. I have no nipples.
How wart? Do wart freeze. Wart freeze your nipple. But
Well,
anyways,
they weren't serving any purpose anyway.
Jack Nicholson. Nobody playing with him. Okay, sorry guys, we're getting off topic here. Anyways,
Play with
Hank,
myself.
what's going on? The Ink Warrior, John Carpenter and Stanley Kubrick are my favorite directors. There you go.
There
But
you
what
go.
was I going to say?
Can't complain.
The lead actor Jack Nicholson, okay,
Yeah.
played the part. But there were other
Yes, he
people
did.
who actually tried out for that role and could. Harrison Ford, Robin Williams.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, Robin Williams is a very deep guy, and I mean, thus the suicide and all that other stuff. So he might have been able to bring.
I don't
out,
think at that
but
time.
No,
You know, later in his career, he did some dark roles.
it's funny that he was
were
trying.
interesting.
Right? Yeah, and yeah, some good movies.
But,
Offhand, I can't remember exactly what
Like
they
Insomnia.
were.
1
Yeah,
Hour
Insomnia was
Photo,
one of them.
You know, stuff like that.
Yeah.
He could play a dark character.
He could play Darth Vader.
A dark character.
Oh, good.
Sorry.
That's,
But Jack was who he wanted from the get-go. King certainly didn't like Jack because
Somebody
he
asked
looks
earlier.
crazy from the get-go.
Yeah.
It's not much of a stretch of the imagination to figure he's going to go off.
That scene when he just walked, it just pans right towards him. You know, the most.
Like when he's just standing there
Yeah,
staring
just so.
in that turtleneck sweater.
Yeah, how does that just get you, man? Throwbacks to my father.
Yeah, I remember the man.
But somebody asked in the chat, what do you think Stephen King hated most about the this portrayal of the film by Stanley Kubrick?
I think the film dealt more with, I think it was more a personal novel because of his own alcoholism.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of that was overlooked in Kubrick's version. So
Yeah, I think he started
the
tampering with.
disintegration of the family
Yeah.
as a unit, I think he didn't
Yeah,
care
same.
for that as much either.
But
I
yet-
think he
but yet again,
softened on it
Stephen-
a little bit.
Stephen
as
King was
time's
going
gone
through
on.
that though, right, in his own life,
Right, and
at
that's
the time. And I
I think
that's-
maybe he took it a little bit more to heart because maybe to him The Shining was a little bit more of a personal story
Right.
from that aspect, and it's like, you know, you're taking my baby and you're changing things. But I think he's softened on it a little bit as time has gone on.
Well, that happens
But like I
in
said,
old
they've made
age,
so
though,
many
right?
shit adaptations
Right.
of your books. Look what they did to your Dark Tower series, and you're going to complain about Kubrick. All right? I think I would be out there complaining about a few other movies first. And then,
No,
then we'll get to the shit.
I hear you. Yeah, no.
But,
So what are your thoughts on there being a new Shining remake or
reinterpretation? I think I'm on record
actual...
as if it's based on a book, much like the current It.
Why not make it?
Then make as many versions as you want.
Even though there's
because all the other versions are there for you to enjoy.
Exactly. That's my point too.
I mean,
chances are 10% chance that it might be good. But 90% chance that it's probably going to suck.
Well, I mean, if they
in
want
this
to do
day and age with
a
Hollywood,
film version straight, I mean,
straight out of Hollywood,
I wouldn't want to be the director to have to remake a Kubrick film, even if they stayed more loyal to the book instead.
Oh my!
Because it's always going to be compared. Because everyone's forgot the miniseries.
Yeah.
Everyone's just going to forget. Everyone's just going to compare it to Kubrick's version. And
oh well, no, I mean,
who's going to remake 2001? Who's going to do that?
Well, they may do that. Who knows? I mean, I don't know.
But I think it'd be a dark.
But hey, Lots Life Raider, troll much?
Yeah, really.
Yeah, Raider says J.J. Abrams is a far better filmmaker. Okay, we'll leave it at that, Raiders.
Yeah.
We don't want no. Yeah, that's
you can suck up there.
Whatever. Even though I like J.J. Abrams stuff.
What has he done?
I'm not going to say he's anywhere. This is J.J. Abrams.
Makes crowd pleasers.
And this exactly, but they're. I love
Force
Star Trek.
It was just a crowd pleaser. All Star Trek
Stanley Kubrick's up here. Let me just say that.
Was Star Wars without any? It was just Star Trek without any brains.
The Mummy and the Monkey says, "Love Jack Nicholson." You better believe it, Jack Nicholson.
The 70s, that man was unstoppable. Chinatown, even though it was directed by.
Wait, what are you talking about? Over.
Just Nicholson, man. Oh, over.
Yeah. Looks like the snow's coming in pretty early here. They're over.
Over. Yeah. Can you get off the horn?
Over.
It's for emergencies only. Over.
Over. Well, when he took the things, the little fuse things or whatever they
transistors
were,
or
transistors out of the box there. You think at that point he knew? I mean, he didn't like number them or nothing. Like, he was going to get them all messed up, so he was never going to get that to work.
You know what we got to talk about next, though? We got to talk about Lloyd in the bar. We got to talk about Delbert Grady.
Yes, let's get into talking about that.
The one
Scatman Crothers too. The Shining, actually. I mean, most people know in the paranormal
we haven't even really talked about the whole thing.
the paranormal community pretty much know about The Shining. It's a gift, okay, to see spirit. Danny, he saw spirits. He could, they were reaching out into echoes of the past and the future. You could see.
He was shown.
Danny was most certainly shown the
when,
future.
And I don't know where. I'd never noticed it watching it. It was pointed out to me, like when he's in the bathroom talking to Tony, and you see all the little cartoon characters on his door. Remember?
Yes.
There's Dopey from Snow White and Seven Dwarfs, and then
you got that on your back of your car. It's a bumper sticker.
Then he's given that vision of what's going to happen, and he passes out, and the doctor comes.
Right.
When the doctor's in the room and Wendy's in the room, if you look at the door, Dopey's not there anymore.
Okay.
Now that's done on purpose. Is
Yes.
it because Danny's wise now and knows what's going to happen, and I guess he's not a dope, or I think it might have been in that room 237 that was.
He's no longer dopey.
I saw that ages ago when it came out. Maybe. I mean, but it's
let's
just
talk
little
about
things like that. It's there for a reason.
Talk about the caretaker then. Let's go ahead and talk about it.
I loved the part that was. I can't remember the actor's name. God, it's on the tip of my tongue. But he was.
I love at the
Alex's
beginning.
dad in Clockwork Orange.
Yes, he was.
And he's been in other films too. But
yes, the old in out in out. Ted's favorite part over.
No.
Red Rover. Let Ray go on over. The Burbs.
Yeah. So I mean that there's the evening. Jack walks into the gold room, and all of a sudden it's a real bar.
Of course, at the beginning of the movie, the owner, I believe, or the manager, whoever is, I don't know his name again, but tells Jack that, by the way, in 1970,
yes,
there was another caretaker who went nuts and couldn't take it. By the way,
had enough of his nagging wife and kids.
Yes.
But
I think the manager actually went out and sought these husbands
that are crazy,
who are crazy, and were on the verge, because he'd track them like Scientologists do, and thus Stanley Kubrick, and there's a whole inner immersing there of that kind of stuff
Yeah,
going
so he
on.
tells
there.
him that story.
Should I throw that? But anyways, go yeah.
And he tells him that story about. He doesn't mention the name.
No.
But there is a little shout out to the book there, because when he does bump it, when Grady does bump into him with the drinks, he even says to him, you know, I recognize you. I saw you in the newspaper. You know, and then in the book, that's kind of what happens. He finds a scrapbook, and I think there's a part in the movie where they show the scrapbook. He finds a scrapbook about the history of the hotel and everything. That's what he's going to start writing the book about.
Beth, I was going to say that, Beth. Yes. Didn't he get the inspiration for The Shining from Instant Karma from John Lennon? The song.
I don't know.
Yes, he did. Yes, so there you go. That's
cool. Thank you.
Excellent. Instant Karma. Because he talks about the shine. He goes, and we all shine on.
I guess.
To the blue. But listen to the rest of the song. I'm not going to sing the whole song.
Guess so.
But
why not?
I could sing
the
song.
Every time he's talking, when
Hey, John,
Jack is talking to the hotel, talking to a ghost or whatever, there's always a mirror.
Get yourself back there on the drums, you know.
You hear a bloody thing I said.
I'm trying to get myself to shine on,
They're
you
the
know.
wrong lads.
Then let's shine on, Ted. Get a bit of shining going on. Okay, anyways.
Every time he's talking to the hotel or a ghost or whatever, there's a mirror. When he's talking to Lloyd, there's a mirror. When he's talking to Delbert, he's in the John.
Oh my God, there's a delay.
Yeah, I know.
I'm looking at us like...
Yeah, I haven't looked at that.
3 minutes ago.
3 minutes ago. Yeah, there is a delay.
I wonder every time I watch The Shining if Jack was a ghost that came back as a writer, madman, to be a caretaker of the hotel to die all over again. Jennifer Delaney says.
I believe Kubrick even said at one point about a reincarnated spirit. But that's such an eerie scene in the bathroom when he says,
Grady,
you know, didn't you used to be the caretaker? He's like, no, I beg to differ with you, you know, but you're the caretaker. You've always been
the caretaker.
And he's like, and I should know because I've always been here. Love.
Hopefully you guys heard that. He whispered so low.
I've always
over.
I love it. It's so creepy. It just gives me a chill every time I watch that part. And then it kind of ties into the end, you know, that picture there, you know, when Jack goes mad and you know he's all, you know, gone.
Yeah.
And he's just allowed himself to melt into the history of the hotel.
Yeah,
and now his spirit lives in there forever as well. You know, he will now
That's awesome.
If someone else were
scene.
to have you know, if someone else with The Shining were to walk in there, he would be one of those echoes now that they would see. And, you know, hence he's in that picture at the end there. You know, he's just, maybe he wasn't in that picture before he died.
Yeah.
You know, but he's in there now. You know, he's
somewhere
in
the I love that. I love
the hotel.
You know me, I love the old style 1900s to 1930s, whatever. Yeah, it's it's showing him in there with the crowd of people from like around 1917. Yeah, it's a 1917 in there. Yeah. What was the name of the room? The Rose, whatever.
I don't remember. I know it was 4th of July, Overlook Hotel.
Yeah. But
I presume it was the gold room because that's the room that they were in.
Yeah. And and Shelley Duvall, her role in this movie. I mean,
it's kind of just a whimpering sycophant. Whereas in the book, she was a much more stronger character.
I mean, I was trying to think as I was rewatching
She's not very
it again.
sympathetic.
No, and just very. Not good.
Well,
good acting though.
Well, she acted the way that Kubrick wanted her to act.
You think?
Absolutely.
I mean, I guess I can't.
And he constantly changed lines.
Yeah.
There was always new pages. I mean, I was, you know, it's notoriously known that, you know, like Jack, they'd be giving him new pages of dialogue. He'd just throw them away. He's like, this shit's going to change before the end of the day anyway. And they would have these long days. I mean, these, you know, 16-hour days, 17-hour. I mean, shooting all night.
Eric from the Death Twitch says something. Eric's into a lot of the same paranormal stuff too, and conspiracy theory stuff and all that too.
Let's hear it, man.
He's like, Jack is doing the old Baphomet pose in the New Year's photo. Frickin' Satanism.
With the one hand. Well, that is something
satanic. And they took. What did they take out of the movie that they?
Not of this film, but in Eyes Wide Shut, there was people who knew Stanley said that there was a scene where Tom Cruise walked into a room with a huge pentagram, You know, when that part when during the orgy, he's walking through the
Yes.
house,
Yeah.
and that was made. Warner Brothers.
They said no.
That is the only Kubrick film that was tampered with.
Yeah.
You know,
It was going a little too deep.
I think he was taken out. I don't think he had just had.
You think Stanley Kubrick was taken out
after the Warner Brothers executives screened that film? Yeah.
Yeah.
He died 666 days before January 1st, 2001, the movie he's most famous for. He had a pretty
very interesting.
His wife said he had a clean bill of health at the doctor's shortly before this. I mean, he was only 70 something. I mean,
right,
or 70. I mean, it's not a far stretch of the imagination to know he could have died of heart failure or whatever. But
yeah, we know everybody's agreeing. I mean, Kubrick cut her lines. She was definitely different than she was in the book and on the.
And he's a hard director. Any actor that's worked with him has said he's hard. You know,
wait, calm down.
He's a hard director.
He's hard.
He's hard on the actors.
Okay.
Woo. There was during Full Metal Jacket, Stephen Baldwin's in that film.
Alec Baldwin's brother?
He's one of the Baldwins. Yeah, Animal Mother. He was. They were making him do a scene over and over again, and he just muttered, "You know, what does he want?" And Kubrick heard him say it.
Yeah.
And he just looked out from behind the camera and said, "Better acting."
Oh God, That's awesome.
You know, because it's all here. Yeah. He knows what he wants, and you're going to keep doing it until I've got it.
Yeah, it's got to be right in his head.
And sometimes it's just a little tick. You know, it's just. I mean, he would let you do what you want, but you're going to keep doing it till that's what I want. Right. You know.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I love all the behind-the-scenes stuff.
Yeah, I think she had like a little mini breakdown while making that film because it took a year.
Well, and they said, I mean, even like the Here's Johnny scene, you know, breaking down the door with the axe. They said that was just some very, you know, getting into character and stuff was just very, very hard on the actors themselves.
Jack Nicholson ad-libbed that, but because Kubrick was kind of isolated in England, he didn't even know that was like a thing on late night TV here in the States. So he let it in.
Who's Johnny Carson?
You know,
who's that man? What are you talking about?
Eyes Wide Shut was over a 400-day shoot.
Oh, right,
it holds the record for the longest filming.
Yeah. Oh well, he wants to get things
400
down
days,
correctly, man, and do it right. He definitely wants his product out there, and especially when he wants to get a message out. And I would tell anybody to do a little bit of research on this. Like just do a search on like conspiracy theories, The Shining, and see what pops up. You guys will be surprised. Say
look at Kubrick's Odyssey. There's a couple parts. Those are films by Jay Weidner. I'm not saying I believe every single thing that comes out of Jay Weidner's mouth, but he makes some cool points, and then if you know a little bit about Kubrick, it's a tempting thought to take it there. So,
Mr. Michael Myers 99 says, "Are you guys going to watch the movie?" No, we are doing a different format.
Not doing the commentaries.
No, we're not doing any commentaries.
Too bloody long, and none of you all are watching the whole damn thing.
Yeah.
So we're punishing you. We're just kind of doing like an hour-long review, gushing.
Yeah, more of a podcast style.
More live.
Review, kind of rant about a different movie each week. Just changing it up a bit. I think between
commentaries were cool, but I think we're kind of done.
Yeah, I mean, we had 2.5 years of commentaries every single week.
And you're able to look at the logistics. You know, like who's watching it all and who's not.
I mean, people can sit there and watch a movie, and then it kind of just, they're not sticking around to the half of
at least on YouTube. You said like on iTunes we hit pretty good.
Oh no, iTunes is great. I mean, if and that's what I'm saying. The commentary style was more for people who wanted to listen and sit there. I mean, I would listen back to a lot of our podcasts, our commentaries, but for YouTube, just not the right kind of style. Even this, we're going an hour, man. It ain't 20 minutes.
Even the one guy on our Return of the Living Dead podcast, what he commented, what'd you say? He said, "What? I'm supposed to sit here and listen to you guys talk for an hour and a half?" Well, the whole idea is you queue it up with your DVD.
Right. A lot of people get it.
That's the idea.
Yeah.
But
I stole G. Anyways.
What else is cool about this movie? I talked about Delbert Gravy. I mean, there's the You know what? Probably the greatest thing, the one thing I'm the most envious of this movie.
What's that?
I wish I was a kid living in that hotel and could take my big wheel and just
Let's
ride
throw
the
that
hell
out.
out of those hallways.
Yeah, let's throw that out there to some people.
How much fun would that be for a kid?
But again, how long could you actually do that and stay entertained without friendship or friends or anybody else?
He had
You know
Tony
what I mean?
to talk to.
Tony.
Tony, yes, master. Well,
Yes.
Tony was his middle name.
We are
Anthony was
going
his
to
middle
get
name.
this over.
But then when he goes that corner and there's the Grady girls, yeah, come and play with us, Danny, forever.
Oh, and that's another thing in this movie. That face when...
And ever.
I mean, there's so many things in this movie that are so creepy. Danny's face every time something would start happening because he's shining when Jack is doing something evil or deeds, and you get that shake in his face, and you know, oh my god! And the sounds, the soundtrack, and you know,
the beginning.
Oh my god!
The beginning of the film with
so
that
good.
helicopter shot. Dun, dun, dun. I mean, those beats. You know, another thing I got to mention, the one you can almost write off a lot of the supernatural stuff as maybe it didn't happen, maybe it was in somebody's head.
Yeah.
Okay. Then you get to a point where Wendy starts seeing things when things are
Right.
coming to a head at the end.
Yes.
The room full
It's
of
the whole-
skeletons, the bear.
The hotel starts showing
blood.
her, so they say, showing her stuff. So I mean, it's like,
you know. Yeah.
yeah. I mean, it's very
But the
deep, and you can interpret it in different ways. So
I just say there's one part
Yeah.
that you can't explain,
it's a
except unless you use there's one other way, I guess.
shoe polish.
But no, when she after
Oh.
she whacks Jack in the head with the bat and drags him into the dry goods storage area,
Yes.
and locks the door,
locks the door,
and then walks away. Then Jack wakes up. He starts hearing Mr. Grady talking
out
to
there,
him,
yes.
and then you hear the door open.
She is
he gets
stronger
out.
than you. Yeah, who opened that door?
Who opened it? I mean, you could say maybe did Danny open. The only person who could have opened that door was Danny. I don't believe Danny opened that door.
But then again, I mean, and I agree with you. I mean, even a
It's like
spirit,
the one thing that
even
you
a
gotta
spirit
say,
or a ghost. But
something happened there.
people say that a ghost can manifest itself with enough energy to actually open that door.
Well,
So,
that's what I'm saying.
You
And
know,
that's what I'm saying. You know,
it's possible.
was the hotel really haunted?
Yeah.
Were there just bad things that happened there that manifested? You know, this perfect storm of.
Or was this
Jack
a
Nicholson's
story?
character and,
Or was this a story being told by the writer, Jack Torrance? Because there's the whole thing with Jack walking around. Who's the real caretaker? The what is it? The ruby red jacket that he has on.
Okay. Yeah.
During certain scenes, and he's got the brown one on, I believe, when he's doing the typing and writing. So, is it a story in a story?
Right,
is it
because
a
the typewriter changes colors?
Right.
Maybe
so-
the real writer has one color, and I never really thought about it that way. But that's the cool thing about a Kubrick movie.
Exactly.
There's more than one way to
Interpretation, man.
interpret it, and that's the whole point of art. And I'm sorry, but Annabelle ain't art. This is
No,
art.
Eric, the Death Twitch said, you guys are just going to have to stop looking at the numbers and stop giving an F and do what you do.
That's what we do.
Seriously, screw analytics and F the numbers. Wasted the story. Wasted the story of Eric Harrison. No. Yeah, wait, what's your commentaries were awesome, Ted and Dino. I love them, Mr. Michael Myers.
Oh, maybe we'll still do one once in a while.
Yeah, well, I think we will. No, Eric, don't get me wrong. Yeah, I'm over that. I don't care about that. It's just, I think it was getting it was getting a little monotonous with some of the longer movies for us.
Yeah, and
we
sometimes
wanted
I
to
felt like we
switch a
really
little
had
bit
to stretch to fill in that time.
Yeah.
I don't want to sit there and just watch a movie and tell you what's happening on the
And
screen.
honestly, and honestly, with the move I've made, I'm a little bit farther away from Ted now.
A little bit.
So
I make the trek.
he
He was
does.
around the corner before.
Yeah. So to do a 2-hour movie commentary, he'd be here late.
After I worked 12 hours at the hospital.
So that was really the only thing. I don't think nothing was going to ever stop us from hanging out and do these commentaries. I
this is
mean, I
cool
did
'cause
notice Yeah, but like Eric said, we've
this.
talked about this, and I do agree. I don't care. People who do love what we do.
It's more like a conversation. We're just talking about how much we dig it.
I like doing
and
this.
Other people are jumping in.
Yeah, but if we get a movie every now and then, I think we may do so. Especially for Halloween here, maybe we'll do a commentary. What the hell?
See, now you got me thinking about that. See, I never really thought about it that way. With like Jack Nicholson's two separate people.
Well, I did a lot of research. I did a lot of research on it.
The
past couple days. Yeah.
Never really thought about it that way. See, that's what's cool.
Yeah,
you talk to other people, you get some other
Hails
ideas.
To the bells, to the yells.
And it could be all of these things, and that's what's cool about it.
Let's see. Raiders comes up again, and I'm not sure what he said. Real answer, Ted. Alfred Hitchcock.
Alfred Hitchcock is a good director.
Yes, he is.
But he was not as consistent as Stanley Kubrick. Hitchcock's got bad movies. Kubrick doesn't.
I'm trying to think of the bad ones because I like most of Alfred Hitchcock movies.
You know he's got bad movies.
But I mean, even the early stuff, the black and whites, and all the way up to the I'm hard pressed. But Stanley Kubrick's are just monumental in my mind and in Ted's. We love.
If you use the
what
phrase
he's done,
Kubrick and hack in the same sentence.
It's not really that.
I can't take anything you say seriously.
Yeah, okay.
You might have went and did a Google search on great directors and came up with,
Savage Rock and Roll. Hey, Dino and Ted, what is up? Ronnie, what is up, brother? We are here, man. Tubes, says Eric Death Twitch. Hey, Eric, are you drinking tonight? If anybody's listening on iTunes again, we go live every Monday on YouTube, and I look at the chat time to time here and see what everybody's posting. And yes, the Death Twitch says tubes, and I'm not quite sure what he's saying. He may be drinking a little bit of something tonight.
Maybe he's got an infection in his guts, in his tubes.
So what are you drinking tonight, Eric? The Death Twitch, if you are drinking.
Doesn't he only drink absinthe?
Hitch was great, not as as a director as Kubrick, but I still love me some Hitchcock. Yes, says Eric the Death Twitch. That's right. You should do the Burbs next summer. Mr. Michael Myers 99. We did do the Burbs.
It was like one of our first ones. You got to go way.
Oh yeah,
back.
Maybe we'll have to redo it because you can go.
And that was a commentary and a fun one.
Oh, it was a fun one. Oh, I think it's way back. It's before we had the toys and the video was close up and it looks weird. We look weird.
But keep scrolling down. It's there. I swear to God.
But the Burbs is there, and there was. I think towards the end of that show. I think I broke out into laughter like so many times.
Well, yeah, because we're watching the movie while we're doing it.
But we were saying like to see a lot of those commentaries. I would do some weird stuff, man, in the middle of the shows. I'd throw Ted off. He would throw me. I think
you do that a lot. Yeah.
There were a couple where I was just sick too, and my throat was hurting me, and it's like, it was just so. And I started laughing, and I'm like, going, oh, I'm going to be hurting so bad later tonight. It's just like it was just so good, man. Tube, the YouTubers. Okay, yeah, that's right. Eric, the Death Twitch. No, hey, this YouTube's great. I love that we can stream this. Hey, Eric, did you?
A few weeks ago, YouTube sucked.
Well, I say it's going.
I remember
this way. No, you're correct. No, I'm not going to take that back. But I'm trying to forget about it. Okay. Because this goes.
They did apologize.
They did apologize, but this goes on YouTube and this goes on iTunes. We got a lot of people listening.
iTunes rules.
What was I going to say here?
What else is great about this
everyone
movie?
should have got a bottle of red rum for this.
Red rum.
Murder spelled backwards. Over.
Yep. Over.
But
how did that kid's voice not wake his mom up sooner? He's sitting there yelling red rum for about half an hour.
Who could replace that kid, man? That kid was awesome in that movie.
They went through a lot of kids, man.
Damn.
A lot of kids.
Yeah.
He didn't work with kids too much, but there you go.
Awesome. So
2001 had a kid. That was his daughter, though.
Yeah. I'm not sure what we're going to do next week.
Oh, well, I'm not done talking about The Shining yet. Someone asked us to talk about the epilogue that was cut.
Yes.
From Prince.
There you go. Bingo, Mr.
When it was in theaters,
yes.
There was a scene at the end.
Yes.
You know the scene where you see Jack frozen?
Yes.
Okay. Then there was another scene in a hospital.
Right.
Which I don't know if any of us have ever seen the footage. It was just snipped of Shelley Duvall and Danny in the the hospital, and that what was his name, Mr. Ullman,
Yes.
the guy who hired Jack at the beginning, is there, and they mentioned
That's
that
his name. Mr. Ullman.
you know, they can't find Jack's body, which doesn't make any sense because if he was frozen solid in the hedge maze, they're gonna find him,
Yeah.
all right? But
he was running through the head maze.
yeah, and after seeing
Cody.
that, I think he thought he was. I think maybe Stanley thought that was just, you know, beating the point too much. You know, better to leave it more ambiguous. So he gave instructions to all the theaters to cut frame, you know, whatever from here to frame whatever from here, and put it back together. That was snipped. Yeah, but he's done that lots of times. He did that with. He cut several minutes out of, 2001. You know, because sometimes you got to play it in front of an audience a few times, and then you see how it works.
Yeah.
You know, it's different when you're the person who made it and you're watching it. And it's also interesting to note that the UK and European versions, like if you go buy the Blu-ray in England,
Right.
it's about like 20 minutes shorter.
Damn.
He cut out pretty much everything that had to do with the outside of the hotel.
No.
Like the hedge maze stuff.
That's terrible.
Scatman Crothers talking to the guy that's renting the snow cat.
No.
Lots of scenes like that. See, because we're so used to watching it that way.
Yeah. Well,
It would be hard to go and watch it now. It's, you know, not even 2-hour movie now.
Yeah.
It's
Yikesy.
yeah. You know, he just made it for Europe. He just made it a little bit tighter, and that's how they've gotten used to it over there.
Yeah.
So it was kind of exciting when when they were able to get the Blu-ray of it over there, and you know, if you wanted to see that version, you could
Check
see
it out
if you
and see
wanted
the
to.
different. Yeah.
It's just stuff
would
cut.
be
There's nothing
interesting.
extra in.
Right.
It's just some stuff cut, and it's
Yeah,
mostly it
you
just
can't cut stuff out.
it
of this movie,
contained.
man.
It's
Come on.
just the
Sup, man.
it keeps the movie more contained inside the hotel.
Cool. Raiders says to me, Dino, thought about you while at Horror Fest this weekend. Lots of paranormal stuff there. Yeah. Mr. Michael Myers 99 said this movie makes you claustrophobic. I agree.
Yes, it does.
And if anybody is interested in this kind of
Agoraphobic, claustrophobic.
anybody interested in this the paranormal stuff, you guys can check out my other show that I do, which is different than this, but paranormal. Paranormal Into the Night. Paranormal Into the Night. Eric, I was going to ask you if you're Death Twitch, if you're still there, if you listened to the show last night that I did. Was very interested. I am an alien. Okay.
I knew you weren't a legal citizen.
It was a very interesting.
Was it just a bunch
show.
of Mexicans calling in?
They say, "Hello, me alien, no, you get me cupacha, ne, ne, see."
You know, and
Me
I
come that
know.
flying saucer, no, yo. Go ahead.
I was just gonna say, I know that I gush about Stanley Kubrick, and when it comes to certain things, I'm very snobbish, and I am very snobbish about Stanley Kubrick.
No, I hear you. Don't touch Kubrick.
You know-
Eric, the Death Twitch says real quick. Sorry, Ted.
Go ahead, interrupt me. It's just my show.
Well, he's, saying a good thing for us. He's good.
right.
He's like, see, this is interesting because this is classic Little Monster style. But I also enjoy the commentaries, even if I don't always make it through the whole thing. Give us both styles and F the numbers. Amen, Eric. I hear ya. That's what we'll probably do, but I hear ya. That's awesome. You're awesome. Man. Oh no, Dino is an alien. Run, lots of
I
that.
knew it.
In the cutscene. Okay, we're all over the place. But yeah, Tales from. Wait, let's see. Raman Bao in the chat says, Are you guys thinking of ever maybe doing a commentary or thoughts on Tales from the Crypt? Original 72. Well, we would only do the original, most likely.
That's
'cause
a
we're old school.
anthology film. We never
Right.
really did anthology films. I believe that's got Peter Cushing in it. I believe, and I know I've seen it.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure.
Possible. I mean, we could.
There were a lot of anthology. We never did any of the anthology films. You know, Creep Show or
You think
Two Evil Eyes.
We might be able to fit a commentary in here before Halloween, maybe.
Some of them are really good. Some of the anthology movies, like from AIP Pictures and Amicus Pictures, I think that's where those come from.
Amicus.
Yeah. Peter Cushing did a lot of films for them as well. Some of them are pretty darn good. Roger Corman did the Tales of Terror with Vincent Price and Peter Lorre, and those are all great.
Yeah.
And there's the
Hell yeah, man.
there's
Peter
Twice Told
Lorre.
Tale. Yeah.
Oh, Peter.
Yeah, because
Peter Lorre here.
there's the great one where Vincent Price and him.
What you doing?
Vincent Price is a hoity-toity wine taster.
Yeah.
And You know, he takes the tiniest little sip and spits
What was the
it out.
one we did?
And then Peter Lorre, he'd come in. He's a drunk,
Mm-hmm.
and he'll take a sip of the same thing, drink a big glass, and he knows exactly what it is.
What was the one we did with Vincent Price?
Comedy of Terrors.
Comedy of Terrors.
One of my all-time favorite
Yes,
films.
go back and look at that. That's we did a commentary on that, and Peter Lorre was awesome. It was very comedic.
They don't
and
know who Peter Lorre is.
I'm sure a lot of them know who.
Well, maybe that
Lorre
guy
is.
who likes Hitchcock movies knows who
Peter
Peter
Lorre.
Lorre is.
Yes. But anyways, we're coming up. We're on an hour
We're on
here.
the end
So
here? Is that the hour?
yeah.
Is there anything else I wanted to say?
Yeah. What? Anything else about Stanley Kubrick you want to get out here?
No, just
No?
that I think starting with 2001, I think he became a different type of director. Not just a director, not just someone who churned out movies.
Thanks everybody in chat.
Yes.
I love it and appreciate you guys
An artist.
sticking here the whole hour and having fun with us, man.
Someone who tried to, I shouldn't say try, he succeeded in creating
Yes.
multiple layers in a film.
Layers.
Subliminal
Says
messages,
Peter Lorre.
things like that,
Yes.
where upon repeat viewings you get things that you
Right.
didn't get before, and sometimes they're just
Are there
feelings.
any other directors out there right now that actually do that? I'm trying to think.
David Lynch is probably the only one that's kind of artistic like that, but he's
Even he don't dive so much
no.
into the
Yeah.
occult.
I mean, people who pay
Illuminati
David
stuff,
Lynch to
you
make David Lynch movies know what they're paying for.
Right.
You got to also think that Kubrick's done. I mean, look at the genres that he's worked in. He's done, noir films. He's done black comedies. He's done historical epics, science fiction. I mean, the science fiction film, horror films, war films, dramas, whatever you want to call Lolita. I mean,
That's an awesome movie.
oh, absolutely.
Man, oh my God.
Dealing with a particular issue.
Yes. Yes.
But his work is it's varied.
It's very.
You know what I mean? It's just, he didn't do the same kind of movie twice usually. And especially starting with 2001. It's just a different kind of artist, and you got to take into consideration that, there's also a
He had a
message
script
in
out there 2020, but it never got made.
Oh, what are you going to do? But, his last one, probably, we were talking before the show,
There's
probably
a
would have
director
been,
out there scratching all his inner workings off.
he probably would have done AI next if he hadn't been offed. Everything that Spielberg did to it was not Kubrick. I don't care what any of the literature out there says, because people who knew Kubrick said that basically, if you follow the lines of what Eyes Wide Shut is about, AI would have been the last nail in the coffin, I think, dealing with the Pizzagate Hollywood pedophile ring, which is a real thing, which is an absolute real thing. That'll get us flagged here probably.
Yeah.
But just keep in mind,
Good going,
what
Ted.
AI is about,
But
and who would really
Spill
want
the-
an 11-year-old boy that never got older. Just think about that.
I know. I hear you, brother.
And that's what he was going to
Yes.
address in the film, in his own particular way.
Darren Atanovsky is trying. Bitmother was a bomb. What the hell is all that? I'm trying to. I'm just reading a thing. Sorry, I didn't get that. But Eric also said that both Body Snatchers he just watched recently, the new one and the newer one.
Well, there's the original, there's the 70s,
Yes.
there's Body Snatchers from the 90s, and there's The Invasion with Nicole Kidman and Daniel Craig.
Oh yeah, that's right. So there's
four.
technically
it's
four
kind of like every generation gets their own
Body Snatchers.
version.
That's right.
And I'll tell you what,
How did I forget
know The
that?
Invasion isn't considered very popular, but I just love the story, and there's something to like about all of them, I think.
Oh yeah. He said they were good. I don't think he was gushing over him. Like I love the '70s version with Donald.
And I like
Sutherland,
the '90s one.
And even Leonard Nimoy was in there. I think.
Yes, he was.
Jeff Goldblum.
Leonard Nimoy, Donald Sutherland.
Some of my favorites were in there. So that
Chick from Alien.
The chick from Alien.
Chick from Alien.
Ooh, I like this. Stand by it. Give us both formats, please. Will do, Eric. Thanks, man. I really appreciate it. Also, The Faculty. I never saw The Faculty. Did you?
I think you and I went to go see it together.
No, did we?
It was where the kids were like snorting stuff with the pens, and that is also another version of Invasion of the Body Snatchers. I forgot all about that. So thank you.
If we went to attempt
I'm pretty
to go
sure
see
we
that
went
movie,
to go see that together. Robert Rodriguez did that movie.
Did we walk out of the film?
No, it's like
I don't
Josh Hartnett was
remember
like
it.
sneaking drugs. The kids like in ballpoint pens, and they were snorting it and stuff like that.
What?
We've seen it. I'm telling you. We went
Holy
to go see
cripe! You know what? I'm missing some time here in my head somewhere along
Yeah,
the line.
we-
I don't get what. Oh my God!
saw.
This is.
But,
Anyways,
you know, here's The Shining, rightfully one of
Yes.
the greatest horror films
to
of all
round
time.
this all out, to do The
Builds
Shining.
a sense of dread.
Yes.
It's not a jumpy
Dun,
movie.
dun.
It's not. Some people might even come out on here and say, "I didn't think it was scary at all." But you're not. You know, I think you're missing the point of the terror and the dread that it builds up to the crescendo at the end. And there's a reason why it's not going to be replaced on any list of the best horror films. There's a reason why newer films aren't going to take those top spots away.
Right.
And that's because you have films like Exorcist, you have films like The Shining, or John Carpenter's The Thing, and you know, even some of the old classics, Island of Lost Souls and stuff like that, where studios didn't interfere with the artist and let them do what they're supposed to do.
Except for the artist formerly known as Prince.
Yeah, you know, they did that. But seriously, you know, no one interfered with freaking doing the Exorcist, and try to put that movie out today. The exact same movie won't happen. You know,
You
Shining,
don't think so?
the exact same movie.
Well, not the exact same.
That's
but...
the exact same movie. Put it out
okay.
today as a brand new movie. Won't
Okay.
happen.
Okay.
Won't happen. Not with a girl that young.
Well, I agree with that part.
Not with
Yeah,
a girl
I
that
guess.
young, and they would PG-13 the hell out of it. And so anyway, you know, when studios step out and let artists do what they're supposed to do,
Right.
people like John Carpenter,
Yeah.
Stanley Kubrick, okay,
Pardon me.
then you get these great works, you know, that aren't, you know, oh, you got to put a jump scare, you got to make it
Anyone
more
for an
scarier.
almond joy?
So there you go. That's what I have to say.
There you go.
That's
So-
why, or Night of the Living Dead, which had no studio interference at all because it was made on the go.
Of
You know, it was
course.
gonzo filming.
Oh, yeah.
But there's a reason why those are going to stand the test of time, and you know, there's such a plethora of them now they're just going to get forgotten. Even good ones.
Raiders comments also. Well, he says he digs, but he likes our shows. He digs them.
Damn right, it's the best show out there.
He's like, also Ted needs to pick a side. Superman, not Darth Vader. Light or dark side, Ted? Come on.
I like them all. Superman is the greatest superhero of all time. I have a few Batman shirts. I wear them, but Superman
that's too much.
is the great man. And Darth Vader, man, he brought balance to the fucking Force.
Oh yeah, man.
I mean, come on.
Oh
Because
man.
Star Wars stopped after Episode 6.
And-
I don't know what happens after that.
Yeah.
No, I know what happens, but it stopped after Episode 6.
So there you go, guys. If you guys dig Stanley Kubrick and stuff, go back and
And I like how you say Kubrick and I say Kubrick.
Kubrick.
And see,
man.
it's just, you know, there's another interpretation.
That was passed down from generation to generation. They
That's
said,
right.
keep them thinking, man. But go back and watch our Clockwork Orange commentary because we got a lot of
ages
Stanley
ago.
Stanley Kubrick stuff and
I
talking
probably
there
repeated
too.
all the same shit that I did. in
No,
this one.
no, we touched on a lot of different topics here. But anyways, yeah, I am going to. Let's gotta go later, fools. See you later, Eric. The Death Witch. Peace
Night,
out. Dave Plouffe. Hi, Dino. Hi, Ted.
Dave Coulier.
Dave Plouffe.
Oh.
He's here most of the time. But hey, we are gone, man. With the end of the show here, we are over an hour here, so we don't not sure. Keep up with the page, the Late Horror Show. Even the Dino and Ted show is still got its own page, but
There's no shows.
why the hell not? But keep up with it. Horror Town on Facebook. Horror HORROR.
See, I've been looking
Town.
Horror Town, and
Horror Town. Yeah.
I'm getting a completely different page.
So yeah, there you go, man. You guys
But I
all
like it.
take care, and that's going to be the show for this week. So peace, love, and horror it up, man.
Love, peace,
Horror.
and chicken grease.
Yeah, peace.